Looks like we're about 87, so I think we've hit the total number of attendees, and as more people come in, they'll be able to ask questions accordingly. So we'll kick everything off. So welcome everyone to our Minnesota Town Hall, which is going to be presented by Brent and myself here at Metrc, along with some folks that we've got from the OCM. So again, everyone, thank you so much for taking your time to come join us here for the Town Hall. We're really excited to talk with y'all about Metrc and then get some of your questions and responses as how far things are going. And there's some construction happening in the background, so please forgive me for some of the noises that are happening. But all right, let's jump in. So again, thank you for joining us. I'm Chad Heater. I'm your Senior Customer Success Manager for Minnesota. On the line as well, we've got Brent Doherty. A little background about myself. I've been in cannabis for roughly about 10 years, cut my teeth in the industry working in Colorado before eventually finding my home here at Metrc. I'm based out of Chicago, Illinois, but frequently visit Minnesota at least several times per year because I've got some family up there as well. But again, really excited to work with y'all to meet some more folks as adult use continues to roll out in Minnesota, and excited to see what the future holds for Minnesota. Brent, I'm going to kick it over to you for a sec, just for a quick introduction.
Myself. Hi, Brent Doherty. Nice to see everyone here. I've been with Metrc for about 7 years. As Chad mentioned, Director of Customer Success. Before I was Director of Customer Success, I was more in Chad's position, helping manage implementations and ongoing operations of several states across the country, including Minnesota. I did work with Minnesota on their launch of their medical program and track and trace. Really excited that we're bringing it into the adult use market, and happy to help and facilitate as I can. I'm going to let Chad take back over the screen, the camera here. Keep focused on him, but I'll be popping back in once we with any questions. Please, if you have noticed, there should be a chat feature to ask questions. So if you do have any questions as we're going through these, please be typing those in. We can see all of the questions on our side and we can respond back there, or you can read them out here and get them answered for everyone. So please feel free. I'll be monitoring that and making sure we're getting all your questions addressed that we can.
Perfect. Thanks, Brent. All right. As Brent mentioned, coming up. So please can start submitting your questions. We appreciate the folks that have submitted questions ahead of time. So we'll be kicking off the Q&A with those questions first. And then as more questions come in through the chat, we'll begin answering those as well. If we do receive so many questions that we're unable to answer them in the time frame that we've got allotted for the town hall, we will be making sure we answer those afterwards and then sharing out the questions and the answers that did come in from our town hall itself. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about, because we did receive a couple questions around Metrc resources specifically, and this is how Metrc supports the growing industry in Minnesota for adult use and for new medical licenses. So we have a plethora of options and ways that we do support y'all throughout your implementation and then moving forward as well. So first and foremost is our product support team. Our product support team is available for y'all where you're able to submit cases at support.metrc.com. You're able to log into that as well to get a view of the updates on your cases, to check the status of it, and add any additional content to that case itself. So we always strongly recommend that once you do get up and running with Metrc and you're credentialed and logged in, to go to support.metrc.com and then create your profile and then use that as your way to contact our support team. Now, I really want to strongly recommend that if you do see anything that you've got a question about or anything that you're just wondering, hey, how's this functioning, or is this supposed to be functioning this way, please open a support case. We want to make sure that we're documenting everything that comes in. That way, if there is a larger issue, we can identify it sooner than later, and then we can be proactive and solution that out. We do not want anyone to suffer in silence if you've got something going on. So please be working with our support team. And one thing I always recommend, and that I've learned in my time working in cannabis, is that communication and transparency goes a real long way with the software that you're using, whether that be Metrc or any of the third-party integrators that we partner with, as far as leading to success with your specific facilities and how you want to move forward. Now, I know a lot of y'all have probably gone through your Metrc Learn training as well. So this is part of the credentialing and onboarding process here at Metrc. So go to learn.metrc.com. There is going to be a lot of different courses that you're able to take that are right at your fingertips. This is available 24/7, 365. So as you go through, we strongly recommend, as you got new employees that do come online, to get them through that learn.metrc.com training, just to get them a familiarization of how the software works and how their role actually affects the software itself. So what we've got, what I recommend is, even if you've got somebody that doesn't even touch the software, that might be working in a cultivation facility, it's always good to give them that overarching idea of what they're doing and how that makes into Metrc, whether that's going around cutting or pruning plants, taking down waste and reporting waste, knowing that, hey, everything that I am doing is getting uploaded and reported into Metrc. So the more accurate that I can be, the better that we're going to be off as well. Now, for those that have logged in, Metrc Expert, that's going to be that widget at the bottom right of the screen that you can click on, and that'll give you more access to documentation. There's a chat feature that allows you to ask, hey, I'm in the process of harvesting. What are my steps for harvesting? And it'll actually help you serve up that information through that AI-powered chat tool. And you're also able to open support cases through that Metrc Expert widget. Another thing I want to call out as well is that if you see that it gets in the way, most of the time people don't even notice that it's there. You can click and drag that widget across the screen within Metrc to position it in a better place for you itself. Yep. And then lastly, we've got our website, metrc.com, which is really helpful as well for our partner page with Minnesota. This is going to have additional resources, blogs, case studies, bulletins, etc. And I'll talk a little bit more about bulletins here in a second. All right. So for proc support, again, this is, you are able to create support cases. You can view that real-time case status. So anyone on your computer, I encourage you to scan that QR code and then get access to the support portal to begin setting up your account. And again, letting us know if there's anything that does come up or any questions that you've got in general. We're here to support you every step of the way. All right, so when you do when you do get set up for the support portal, this is the way that you can access it. You want to put in your Metrc username along with your password, and then ensuring that you are selecting Minnesota as your instance. That way we can then help you out along with that facility license number specifically, and again, that for what instance you're in. This would be for any folks that we've got in the market that may have a license in a different state. Sharpening your Metrc skills with Metrc Learn. So this is available 24/7. If you scan this QR code, that'll bring you to the Metrc Learn website. Always encourage bookmarking our Metrc support, the Metrc support website along with Metrc Learn to go in there and check, go in there and take your training, leverage any support cases, and really advance your own knowledge of Metrc. So within Metrc Expert, as I mentioned, that widget at the bottom of the right screen, when you do click on that, you'll see that will expand and then give you those prompts as far as what you want to learn and what more information you want to get out of Metrc. So again, if you've got questions about specific workflows, I always like to use harvesting as an instance, or moving plants from a vegetative phase over into a different growth phase. You can always go in and ask those questions within Metrc Expert, and it'll serve up that information for you as well. All right, and then lastly, our Metrc website and our Minnesota partner page. So the Minnesota partner page is going to have a lot of valuable information there, where you're able to take a look at any recent bulletins that have been posted about the industry. As Brent mentioned, Minnesota for the medical side has been up and running for several years now. So there is going to be a lot of bulletins within there, and we continually do update and add more bulletins as we progress with new releases that are going out or even new functionality. We also will inform you within the app, within Metrc as well, to let you know when a new bulletin has been posted, and then serve up the link to be able to see that. So as I continue talking about bulletins here, so where can you find bulletins? So bulletins are posted on the partner page and then also within that Metrc support portal. Again, these bulletins are really, we put these out to support y'all with anything new that does come out or any new updates as far as workflows that the state wants to implement for the licensees themselves. So as you can see, there's going to be a lot of useful information about those specific bulletins when they go into effect, on information about that. And as you go through the bulletins, or if there's a new bulletin that gets posted that you've got questions about, always feel free to reach out to our Metrc support team, and they'll be able to answer any of those questions that do come up. All right. So a new feature that we've got as well that went out last night is our Metrc Sandbox. So we're really excited to offer this to licensees. What this allows you to do is to go into Metrc and essentially go through workflows, develop your own SOPs, play around in Metrc without it actually affecting your inventory that's in there. So we strongly encourage everyone to sign up and begin playing around with the Metrc Sandbox. We built this out on a lot of feedback that we received from the industry in other states about, hey, how can I go into Metrc, get practice, get better at what I'm doing, familiarize myself more with Metrc, build SOPs with screenshots without affecting my own Metrc environment. So we heard that feedback and then we delivered with the Metrc Sandbox. So again, if you have not signed up for it yet, please go through, get signed up and start playing around in Metrc, the Metrc Sandbox. And this could even give you the opportunity to create additional training along with your own internal SOPs for your staff. Another bonus of it as well is if you've got somebody that you're looking to promote within your facility and give them some more permissions within your license, you can have them go through that Metrc Sandbox and familiarize themselves with those different aspects of the platform before having them go live as in that new role that you've got them in. All right, so let's jump into the Q&A. It looks like there's some questions that have been getting posted into the chat itself, but we're going to start by answering some of the questions that were sent in ahead of time, and then we'll start jumping into the questions that we've got in the chat. So, I just clicked ahead too far. There we go. We'll leave it on this screen here as we jump into the Q&A. So, Brent, I think you've got a couple of those on hand that you might be able to serve up for us to take a look at.
Yeah, I think some of these kind of got answered. I think there's a lot of questions around what resources you would suggest for novices in the system. How do you stay compliant? Are there more training courses available in Metrc Learn besides new business training? I think we covered that as well, right? So we're good there. Is there a demo environment of Metrc available that we can use to practice the basic functions of Metrc if we've never used it before? It would be extremely helpful.
Yeah. So as mentioned, we've got that sandbox that is available for y'all. So yes, please utilize that and leverage that on your own. And yeah, let us know if there's any questions you've got from that by reaching out to product support.
Yeah, and I would also just flag that because you get access to that once you get logged into the system. Like you have to be in the system for you to access that. It's not going to be available to you until you get into the proper Metrc system, Metrc proper. There's a couple questions regarding bringing new genetics in. Specifically one around, can we bring that in prior to final license approval? Is there a deadline? There's a deadline mentioned of December 1st that all genetics need to be brought in. I think that might be more of a question for the state folks, but we don't need to necessarily answer that if that's not something we have considered. But I know we have some state folks in the line if they're willing to answer that.
I'm so sorry, my audio cut out. Can you, which question are you referring to?
There's a couple questions about deadlines for bringing new genetics into the state environment. So just some clarity on that I think would be helpful.
So Russell, I think I can jump in here. Like right now in rule, it says that you can bring in new genetics until December 1st of 2025. As to what happens after that date, we're still having internal conversations how that will be handled. So you'll need to stay tuned for further updates for what to do after that date. Also, as a quick intro, my name is Sean Bosger. I'm here at OCM at the state, and I oversee the Metrc and data unit. So glad to see you're all here today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I apologize for not having you guys on that intro, but the OCM folks were gracious to join us today for this town hall. And if anyone else on the OCM side wants to introduce themselves like John did, please feel free to unmute yourself. Yeah, thanks, John.
All right, I can keep running through some questions here. How do we move waste in Metrc? Do we make an adjustment? Is the question there?
Yeah, I would say that's a really good question. For waste is going to be handled in a couple of different ways depending on what part of the platform you're in. If you are in your cultivation side, you will be creating waste and reporting waste through like your waste feature and that waste log and that waste table as you go through pruning your plants themselves. Now, when it comes to waste that's coming from a package itself, there is a way to adjust that package. And I believe that we do have a couple of options as far as package adjustments for waste. John, how would you guys prefer I know we've got a couple of waste ways happening, but.
Sorry, I had to unmute. So for me, the question is like, what is our preference with waste in Metrc right now? So this is something that we're actually still debating internally. We actually got a question from one of the other license holders about this as well. We're moving to a new process at the moment. What we are looking at though is there is a rule that you will need to follow as far as like the waste methods, and I can try to locate that rule here in a little bit after I finish talking. But what we landed on was going to be whatever item category you need to do waste from, you will just leave the item, that tag in that item category, and then use the adjust package option. And for your reasons, select one of the waste options. And then when you put in a note, you're going to want to put in a really good note that explains that, you know, why there was waste generated. It just helps us when we do a review to know. If you go sparse on the notes, we might come with questions. So please put detail into your notes. And I'll go look for that rule.
And as new waste regulations or waste workflows come out, we will be putting a bulletin together with the OCM to provide that to licensees to ensure that everyone's getting the information on those workflows and expectations for it. But yeah, as John mentioned on that note field, the more descriptive you can be, the better. It just helps with that transparency and communication with the state.
All right, I got a couple more, and then we can dive into some of the other questions here. First off, is there a way to link unlicensed employee licenses access into one so they don't have to log in separately?
Yeah, so when you do have your multiple locations or multiple licenses set up within Metrc, for the new license types, you will have the opportunity for a unlicensed and licensed employee, and you can have them choose which license, or like if you're already in there as a licensed employee, you can leave it so they can still log in through their old one. But if you have a new employee, you can add them as unlicensed and you'd still be able to log in. You would not need to create a new employee record for every license. When you do have your licenses getting credentialed and add more to them, you can give that employee permissions to be able to access more licenses than one that they can log into. or log in once, and then select those licenses.
All right. When will item categories be updated in the cultivation license so plants can be moved from medical to rec? That is, I think, the last question I have on here.
Moving from medical to rec. So that's already happening. Right. Like yeah.
What was the question again? Could you repeat it?
When will the item categories be updated in the cultivation? I'm assuming this is for is this a question from a medical facility on when they're going to be moved over to the new item categories and basically plants so they can move from medical. I'm not sure on that because that should already be available.
Yeah, so like if it is one of the medical providers asking, they should have started using the new item categories the moment they were licensed under 342. Besides that, if you have more questions, please reach out to us directly. And if you're having issues, either open a support ticket with Metrc support or contact us, please.
All right. Thanks, y'all, for submitting those questions ahead of time. What we'll do is we'll start jumping into the questions that we've got in the chat that has come up. So looks like Josh asked the question of what is the timeline for tribal Metrc to integrate with state of Minnesota Metrc? Josh, that's a really good question, and that is going to be that's on the roadmap for Metrc to get that built out and developed. Currently, I don't have a specific timeline for when that will be available, but we will be communicating that out to not only the tribes, but also to the state license holders as well, along with what the workflow is for that specifically. If there are any, if there's any current transfers that need to happen, please reach out to your state, and the OCM will be able to assist with getting that workflow put together. All right. Next, we've got Colin Jones that asked, how do you add plant additives such as sprays, fertilizer, insecticides, I guess, etc.? So that's a really good question, Colin. At the top, when you're in your cultivation, you can go and add plant additives. Is the at the top right? I don't have that screen open in front of me specifically, but I think if you go to the admin, you'll be able to find that in the dropdown to be putting additives in. But then also you can highlight your plants and then add those additives to record those into the system as well. So that'll give you the ability to select multiple plants or even an entire location to put those additives in and record those for the state to see on that front. So, all right. Next, we've got a question from Patrick O'Rourke. How far in advance of opening do you recommend doing the Metrc training? Great question, Patrick. So it is required for you to do the Metrc training prior to getting credentialed and having access to Metrc. Now, I would also recommend that when you have staff that are coming online and getting access to it, to add them to Metrc Learn and to begin their training as well, just to get them familiarized with what Metrc has to offer and what they'll be seeing as well. So what they'll be seeing within the platform as well. And then that's where you can kind of talk about your different SOPs internally of how your what you're doing physically in your facility and how that can get reflected within Metrc. And then definitely leveraging the sandbox that we just released. All right. I'm going to scroll a bit too fast. Sorry, we got it.
Do you mind if I jump in a little bit with that too, Chad?
Yeah, please do, John.
All right. So once you've done like your inspection and your license is invoiced and you pay for your license, or in the event that you applied for a micro license and there isn't a fee to be paid, one of the emails you'll get is from us that will tell you, provide you with your Metrc facility ID numbers. Metrc likes to call them like license numbers. It'll include a list of your Metrc facility ID numbers for a given address. It'll list like your site contact. which is who you would have selected as a site contact in Acela. And that letter would effectively instruct you, the reader, to have your site contact sign up for the Metrc new business training and complete it, and then reach out to the credentialing team at Metrc with the details in that letter to finish getting your access to Metrc. So my recommendation would be probably wait until you've received that letter after becoming licensed. Otherwise, you might be doing it too soon. That's just my 2 cents on it.
Cool. All right. And looks like Patrick O'Rourke sent another question as well. So back-to-back ones. This can be for the OCM. How far in advance of planning opening do you suggest they submit final plans of record? How long does it take for an inspector to come out to sign off on a retail dispensary, one that might be planning to open in mid-December?
Yeah, so I can jump in on this one. So my name is Ryan. I'm with OCM. I'm on the legislative and outreach team. But so state law requires that OCM has, or state law stipulates that OCM has 90 days from when final plans of record are submitted to either issue a license or to get you back to kind of the preliminary approval stage where you would submit final plans of record. So our recommendation has been, to submit it when you are within 90 days from opening. Now, another thing I want to flag on this is state law gives local governments 30 days to either approve or deny a site for, zoning, building and fire code, and any other local ordinances that apply. So we also, are really encouraging you to work with local governments to make sure you know what permits they require, and then also to make sure that any remodeling that is being done or that needs to be done is done when you submit your final plans of record, because local governments have let us know that they are not able to verify compliance with building and fire codes before a remodel is done. They have to kind of see the finished product. So all that to say that it should be submitted when you are within 90 days from opening your location.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Anything else we want to add to that, y'all, before moving on to the next question? Very thorough. All right, next we had from Jenny Miller. When new employees do the new business training course in Metrc Learn and receive the welcome email, do they choose their role, admin versus user, when they sign up for their account? Great question, Jenny. So the roles are going to be assigned by the Metrc admin or the industry admin you've got set up for that specific account. So when a new employee goes through the Metrc business training and completes it, you'll actually be in control of adding them to your Metrc underneath the admin tab at the top of the page, and then you can add them and choose what specific role they've got. You also have the ability to create specific roles within your facility that can be broken down by shift manager, general manager, inventory manager, compliance, etc., to really cater to what permissions you want them to see within the Metrc platform. So when you do have a new employee that gets added, you can just choose that role for them on your end. So roles are determined by the Metrc admin within Metrc itself, not through the Metrc Learn training that they can or complete. All right, looks like we got and here I am clicking off of that. All right, we've got another question here that looks like it's coming from Sean Weber or Weber, I believe it's Weber maybe. I've been credentialed but do not have proper access. Example, under plants, there's nothing, no plantings option. So Sean, please reach out to our proc support team to get some more information support on that, to see what you are viewing. If you're a Metrc admin, want to make sure that you've got those correct admin permissions in there, or reach out to your own internal admin to give you some more permissions or visibility within the platform itself. Shelly Buchanan, is there a banging sound in the background for everyone else or just me? No, it's for everyone else. That's coming from my end. There's construction happening. So apologies for that. It sounds like it's gone down a little bit, but I'll do my best to keep myself off mute when I'm not talking, especially if that starts to happen. So we got a question from Melissa Stopka. Does every Metrc user have to take the new business training? So it's strongly recommended. I need to follow. John, is this going to be a requirement for folks that do get on? I recommend everyone to do the new business training as they get onto Metrc to familiarize themselves with it, especially if they're touching Metrc in the facility itself. But even for folks that aren't touching Metrc, it's always good to know what you're doing, how it goes into the system, on how it's being reported. But John, I wanted to touch if there's any requirements on that state end for it.
So that is a great question. We, at the moment, haven't actually provided any formal guidance on what training is required. I hate to say this, but you're gonna have to stay tuned to see. We're not ready to answer that at the moment today, though. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, going back to it as well, I don't think there's any harm for folks to go through that Metrc Learn training. It's if you're a new facility that's not used to using Metrc, the more knowledge, the better, and the more familiarization you have with Metrc, the better, and it'll set you up for success in the future. All right, we've got Jonathan Ramirez up in Grand Rapids area. He's got a question. Can we use acronyms for the strains in Metrc, or do we have to type the entire name out? Thank you. Yeah, so we did release a bulletin for proper naming conventions that do go into Metrc that are required by the state itself. So no acronyms, make it as transparent and as so we know exactly. So the state knows, the Metrc knows exactly what's getting in there for that specific strain. Okay. All right. Can you talk about, and this is going to be coming from Addie Salagram. Can you talk about the delivery workflow, please? Delivery is a bit nuanced in Minnesota. So we don't have deliveries aren't happening yet in Minnesota, but there is going to be a bulletin that is going to be posted that goes through all the different delivery workflows on how to handle that and ensure that you are doing deliveries compliantly within the state rules. And once that gets posted, please, review that. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out to Metrc support. All right. The next question we've got here is from James Hagerberg. I am a preliminary approved Minnesota micro license holder. We don't have official licensure since our facility is still being built. So we don't have the ability to join Metrc. What is the best resource for those of us that are preliminarily approved to gain access to Metrc training to best prepare ourselves prior to the licensure? That's a really great question, James. What I would recommend is reviewing that Metrc partner page with this Minnesota Metrc partner page to kind of see what bulletins are out there and what some of the expectations are by the OCM and be able to review that. Excuse me. And if you do search for any videos online, I just want to give you a heads up. Some of those are a little bit outdated, but you could kind of use that as an idea of what the system may look like. But again, it's too difficult to determine which ones are going to be. I haven't seen all the videos themselves, but I'd say the more you can read on the partner page itself, the better. But then once you do get your license, you'll have access to all those different resources along with the Metrc sandbox to get you and your team familiarized and up and running. All right, so we got Sean Weber again. Metrc support does not see my license to allow me to complete sign up and access the portal. Okay, so that that's something that we'll want to take a look at to ensure that the license is in Metrc itself, to ensure that we've got you credentialed within Metrc, Sean. So we can take this one offline and see what we can do to kind of help you out with on that end. All right, Maxime Young. Is there a specific category we should use for harvesting for fresh frozen cannabis? What have you seen in other states regarding fresh frozen in Metrc? It's a really good question, Maxime. I'm actually, John, if it's okay if I kick this one over to you on what specific category you want to see folks with on the fresh frozen side.
So I've got to be honest, we didn't plan for fresh frozen in the item categories. Like right now, I could speak to, we have a category that would be close in name to raw cannabis, either packaged or bulk. Until you receive guidance otherwise, I would recommend using the raw cannabis bulk option in Metrc. I'm blanking on the exact name, so forgive me, but that's the category you'll want to use. And later in Metrc, when it gets, I'm assuming with fresh frozen, you plan to process it into, I'm assuming like a concentrate or something. You know, the processing job in Metrc would really capture, you know, that you're using that flower as an input and that you intend to use that as an output. I hope that answers your question. If you still have more, either feel free to reach out to Metrc support or email us at cannabis.info@state.mn.us.
And if there is any change to those categories, we will be putting a bulletin out for that as well to provide proper guidance for how to go about that. So, cool. Thanks, John. All right, Tony Carlson, how do you get a facility license number to create an account? So I would say getting a facility license number is going to be coming from the state itself. Once you do have that, once you have been awarded and given that license by the state, this will be getting sent over to Metrc, which will then allow you to sign up for the Metrc Learn training, to go through Metrc Learn and then get credentialed for your facility. All right, Daniel Clark asked, can you lot female seeds in lots of 100 or 1,000? So it sounds like we're creating a package of female seeds within Metrc and determining if we want to, if we can do one single package of 100 or one single package of 1,000. I would recommend the smaller amounts because they're easier to count compared to having 1,000, unless you've got 10 within that. But there may be a something that requires us to have it in a smaller amount. But okay. All right, Patrick O'Rourke. Does Metrc integrate with most of the point of sale systems like Cova, FlowHub, Dutchie, etc.? Great question, Patrick. Yes, so those point of sale systems do integrate with Metrc. So what we would recommend as you go through and talk with different point of sale companies, ensure that they are integrated with Metrc in Minnesota specifically, and then what specific functionality they may have in regards to the Minnesota market itself. We do have, I think we've got over 400 third-party integrators that do integrate with us. So we're really pleased that what we do bring for different options and opportunities for the license holders in the state. So yeah, there's a lot of great point of sale systems out there. I just want to encourage doing your due diligence to see which one fits the best workflow for your specific facility and what feels best for you as well. All right. Okay. Patrick, how to avoid dual entries, etc.? Yeah, so every time that there's someone that's entering information into Metrc, there's gonna be a paper trail of who did it and at what time and what employee was logged in and did that. So it's best to make sure that if you've got specific functionality or roles within your dispensary or your license itself, that it is determined on who's doing what at that time. So it's about that internal communication, ensuring that, hey, I'm going to be, if I'm the inventory manager, I'm the only one that has those specific permissions for the inventory, or the inventory manager, anyone above. And then ensuring and giving them that opportunity and trust that, hey, this is their role. They'll be the one that's entering different inventory or different items into the system. to prevent any dual entries that do go in. Now, if it's something like adding items or strains that's happening and there's a dual entry that you see, Metrc will flag, hey, there's already this item name or already this strain name, but there may be a typo in that. You can discontinue one of those items that was created. So you're not you're not going to have to continue going through that, but you'll be able to clean up essentially have that data integrity. Laura Powell, is the PowerPoint going to be available? Yeah, we can share out this PowerPoint after we're done here with all that information for you to get set up with all the different ways that we do support. And then, as mentioned before, we will put together the Q&A of like the questions that were asked and get that put into like a PDF or a file that we can share out as well. And if we don't get to all the questions that were asked, we'll make sure to get those answered as well and then provide that to the attendees. All right, Grace Crammond. Is there any site or information we can review prior to officially getting into Metrc proper? We are in the final stage of our license, just waiting for a state inspection. Well, congratulations, Grace, on getting that final stage. We're really excited to get you guys up and running and for you to be on Metrc. But yeah, I would mention the Metrc partner page with the Minnesota state is going to be the best way to kind of start getting a look at what we've got going or what you've got going on and what the expectations are. And I'd actually start by reading the most recent bulletin and going back. That way, it'll give you a familiarity of what's come out this year on what some of those expectations are, especially when it comes around to naming conventions for your items and your item categories. All right. Abby Smith coming in with a hemp question. Will any hemp products be used in the track and trace system? That's going to be quite a long answer and kind of nuanced as well. We can take that one offline if we'd like. Okay, cool. We'll get what we'll do is get that written out for you, Bobby, and respond to that one because there's a lot of different when saying hemp products that can mean a lot of different things. So. Is there going to be a recording of this webinar on the OCM YouTube from Brittany Peterson? We are recording it, so we will share the webinar itself out. I don't know if it'll be posted on the YouTube page, but maybe.
We haven't discussed it. We can. I'm assuming there's a desire for it, so like if you share it with us, I'll see if we can get it posted.
Yeah, we'll get with our marketing team on that as well and get that set up for you. So, all right, James Hegerberg again. We have construction delays for our growth facility and will not be ready for the December 1st genetics deadline. Getting our extensive genetics collection into Metrc is paramount to our business plan and a key part of our success. Any insight into the conversations regarding what happens after the December 1st deadline? I think that's something we're going to take offline, right, John?
Yeah. Like,
sorry, John. I just wanted to jump in, and if you could, sorry, I don't know who asked this one, but if you could direct this one to our customer service inbox, that would be amazing. Once again, that's cannabis.info@state.mn.us.
All right, Colin Jones. I am a license holder, but I am listed as an unlicensed employee. I cannot change that. Why? Colin, that's a great question. So what a licensed employee can be, and what we've seen previously in Minnesota and other states, is that this is actually like a license that you apply for along with your facility license to be a licensed employee within the state. You have the same exact access to your Metrc as an unlicensed employee compared to what a licensed employee would be. What it just means is that you don't need to have a state license to be operating and have access to Metrc.
So I want to hop in here quick.
Yep, please do.
So yeah, you got it pretty well. just to be clear, we've never actually like licensed individual people themselves to like work in Metrc. So like the way we used to use licensed employees in Metrc was really our way to verify that somebody has passed the required background check back when we were a medical only program. Since we have the companies that were here back when we were a medical only program, some of their employees were set up under that old like licensed employee in Metrc. And to facilitate you being able to add employees to Metrc without the state having to review their background check for every single one of them, and also accommodate the people who were set up prior to that change under 342, we ended up in a system where you have two options for adding employees under the admin menu, one being the licensed employees for the old way and unlicensed for the new way. Like Chad said, you have the same rights in Metrc. It doesn't mean anything about your license with the state of Minnesota. It's just how it's named in Metrc, unfortunately.
Cool. Good question, and thanks for that clarification, John. Okay, we got a question from Maxime. This is going to be around item categories. For when creating items, why when they're creating seeds in Metrc is it measured in weights and not units? Yeah, so seeds can be kind of an interesting different ways that this can be going about, whether it's an individual seed that's being counted or a pack of seeds that's being counted as far as like an individual unit. But right now they're going to be measured in weights as far as the total amount of weight in seeds. Melissa Stopka, I put in all my employees as unlicensed. Can I change them to licensed? Melissa, not an issue at all. So you'll just leave them in as unlicensed employees. And as mentioned, they'll have the same access as a licensed employee, but yep, you're good. Adam Hoffman, how far in advance from ordering products should you order package tags, retail-wise? Great question, Adam. So if you are a dispensary, you have the opportunity to order your package tags, but all of the product that you do receive from your from the supply chain or from like a cultivation facility or a manufacturer, all those items will be coming over in your transfer with a Metrc package tag associated to them. So that Metrc package tag will be originating at the source. And then when that gets transferred over to you, that Metrc package tag will appear in your license with the total number of units that you received and the name of that item itself specifically. Now, we give dispensaries the option to order package tags to have those on hand. That gives you, in case, let's say you receive a case that's maybe 500 pre-rolls, and you're like, you know what, 500 pre-rolls is a lot for me to manage for these individual units. And I'd like to break these down into smaller packages or allotments, maybe break it down to 5 packages of 100 each. That's where you can leverage your own package tags in order to break that down, and where we recommend having those package tags on hand. So I always recommend to have some on hand. Also, let's say in case a package tag gets destroyed on accident, gets misplaced, or is missing, you can find it, identify what item that was, what package tag is associated to, and then repackage it into that new package tag with your own. So as soon as you get logged into Metrc, I would recommend at least getting a handful of tags on hand, just in case any of those different scenarios do come up. It's better to have one on hand than to be like, oh no, I need to get some package tags and then have to wait for those to get shipped in. But typically, we do get package tags and plant tags out the door in about 2 to 3 days and get those shipped up to Minnesota. But that's a really great question, Adam.
So there's one other thing I wanted to add to that, one other scenario. So in Minnesota, we have the tribal compacting, and our Minnesota license holders are able to buy cannabis from the tribal nations as well. Because of how that transfer takes place between their Metrc and ours, you'll also need to have some package tags on hand at the dispensary prior to receiving cannabis from a tribal nation to sell at your dispensary. So just one more thing to consider.
Yep, good call out, John. So yeah, if you decide that you're going to order 10 different packages from a tribal nation, you bring those in, you'll want to make sure that you've got at least 10 package tags on hand to associate those two. Yep. All right, Maxime Young, why do we need a photo uploaded for the packaged immature clone category while creating an item? Should it be when creating the package instead? Because items will be reused each time we clone the same mother plant. Okay. All right, so we've got essentially when you are creating a new item for immature clones, there is the requirement to add a photo for the clone itself, but that wouldn't be it's just like a general catch-all. That item is isn't specific to each package, meaning that you don't have to create an item for every new package that comes through for it. Once you do put that one photo uploaded for that immature clone item, that's good. And you don't need to continue creating more item or uploading images for it unless it's a different strain. Michael Sayer, how can you access detailed training when you're preliminarily approved? I need training prior to being issued the license. Thank you. Sorry, I have to ask you on that one, John. As far as the training that folks are getting, is this a different type of training or a Metrc training that we have for them? And we can answer that one offline as well and kind of get some more details around that.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah. How do you access detailed training when you are preliminarily approved? I need training prior to being issued the license.
Oh, yeah. I think I know what this is from. I would highly suggest emailing us with this question. I'm assuming that you are trying to answer questions that our office has. If that is, well, in any case, please email us with this question at cannabis.info@state.mn.us, and we'll get your answer.
Okay, cool. Thanks, John. Mariana Hansen, this can be a general one for the OCM. Will there be another lottery for meso businesses? And if so, when can that be expected?
Yeah, I could jump in here. So state law gives OCM the ability to kind of evaluate the market to determine any future lotteries. We have not announced any yet. We will certainly send out an announcement far and wide, as well as on our website when we establish future lotteries.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. All right, Mariana Hansen, how do we handle returns at the dispensary? Great question, Mariana. Please go to our Metrc Minnesota partner page. We do have a bulletin for returns and how that can be handled at the dispensary. All right, Laura Powell. We received our micro business license in July, and I've still not received a letter from Metrc. Who should I contact? All right, great call out, Laura. So if you have your micro business license on hand, what we need you to do is have you begin taking the new business training within Metrc. So get signed up for that new business training. We'll share that out in the deck as well. Once you go through that new business training as the admin, that's where we can get you credentialed and then be able to get access to Metrc itself. So please go through that process and then we get you access and up and running with Metrc.
And one thing to add there, in the event that you don't know what we call the Metrc facility ID number, or Metrc calls the Metrc license number, please email us at OCM. So email us at cannabis.info@state.mn.us as well. And we'll we'll look into it and work with you to get you the information you need.
Okay. And sorry, I scrolled down a little bit here. Another question here around employee license. So apologies for the confusion on licensed versus unlicensed employees, but I think we've got quite a bit of information that we've already spoken to on that. All right, question for the OCM from Jenny Miller. About the timeline for final plans of record. They're within 90 days of opening, but will not have their security equipment installation finished for a few weeks. Yet, is it okay to submit FPORs now? I think that might be one you'll want to reach out to the email about, because it's going to be a pretty nuanced case for you, Jenny. So yeah, please really reach out to that email that John has been providing, and they'll be able to get that handled and work with you on that one. Patrick O'Rourke, our build outs will take 45 to 90 days. Would inspector come out before we are done, though? I think that'll be also a question we can get sent over to that email address for the state to help out as well. Mariana Hansen, to unionize, is it 10 or more full-time employees? I'm not sure on that one. I think that might need. Yep.
Yeah, I can jump in. So state law requires that a business submit a labor peace agreement with a bona fide labor union. I will say the exception for submitting a labor peace agreement is for a micro business license that has fewer than 10 employees. As part of the application process, though, once you get qualified applicant status, to move from qualified applicant status to preliminary approval, you have to submit that a background check as well as a labor peace agreement. And yeah, if you have questions about connecting with a union to work on that, certainly email the customer service inbox and we can work to get you connected.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Not something I'd be able to handle on that one on the Metrc front. So appreciate that we got you here. From Maxime Young, I feel like new categories or items need to be added to the dropdowns. Who should we call it, the OCM hotline or someone else? Thanks for bringing that up, Maxime. We could take a look at the item categories and then also the different facility types we've got set up, just to ensure that those are visible for all the different facility types. Yeah, and I'd recommend following up, have you reach out to Metrc support so we can get a case going for that and then take a look at investigating that on your behalf. All right. Sean, Weber or Weaver, I feel like Weber should be two B's, but maybe I'm just not great with last names. We have submitted background checks for employees weeks ago. At what point does the OCM approve them and issue a worker ID card so we can set them up in Metrc?
Do you want me to take this one?
Yeah, that'd be great, John.
All right. But my assumption is somebody under your license already has access to Metrc currently. If that's the case, it sounds like you were waiting for like an employee ID number. And if you were waiting for that, chances are you were probably adding them as a licensed employee. We aren't doing that workflow anymore. We're not reviewing background checks for that anymore either. So what you would want to actually do is add them as an unlicensed user, and then you'll be able to just grant them access immediately by doing that. If you have any other questions or still running into issues, either Metrc support or that you feel like it's more pointed towards OCM, please email us cannabis.info@state.mn.us. I hope that helps.
Perfect. All right. And I know that we're actually 2 minutes over today, and we do have several more questions that we're not going to be able to get to today. But what we will be doing is getting these written out for y'all, and then sharing and answering those questions that were submitted. I want to, let everyone know, thank everyone, all the licensees for attending this town hall. It was really beneficial for us to hear these questions that you asked of us, and I hope it was really beneficial for y'all as well. Also want to thank the OCM as well for participating in the town hall itself. And as mentioned, we will get the slide deck and like a package put together with the questions we're asked, the answers for it, the deck itself, and then work with the state on a video. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. John, let's just say any last words if you'd like.
Thank you all for coming today. It's been a pleasure helping launch this, and looking forward to see what you all have in store for us in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. Yep, and we look forward to continue working with you and growing the Minnesota market. So, all right, take care.
Bye, all.